Hey everybody, welcome back to Trio Planet, the YouTube channel. We talk all things media. How is everybody doing? Hope everybody's doing well. We just finished watching episode... Why do I always forget?
14.
What?
14.
We've just watched episode 14 of The Bad Batch, titled... What was the title again?
Tipping point.
Tipping Point. So, yeah, we just watched this episode, just finished it, and as always, I'm joined by the mystical, the amazing, fantastic review co-host, Will, aka Astral.
Mystical?
I have no idea.
Really? That's the descriptor you're going for? Okay. No.
uh,
Doctor Strange, apparently.
I legit, like, last minute, I just went with it. But yeah, we just watched this episode of Bad Batch, and gotta say, it wasn't that bad of an episode, to be honest. We are getting to the good bit because it is the final episodes next week, as we are getting a two-parter on the same day. So we're getting a double feature, which will probably be a overarching story thing. So yeah, without further ado,
You basically get 2 episodes of Jordan leading Bad Batch reviews.
thank you. But yeah, let's get into the breakdown. Will do this because I'm horrible at doing them. Will, go for it.
So, we open on a pretty depressing scene. Pretty depressing planet. We're panning down to what appears to be an Imperial facility. It's unclear what its purpose is. Pretty sure it's a prison, but it could have other purposes as well.
It's a prison / science facility.
Yeah. And we have a group of clones being escorted to a ship, a bunch of clone prisoners. And the ship is transporting them, I believe, to the facility that we've seen on a couple of occasions.
It's because they've been seeing a lot more deserted clones, so they're taking them to this place.
Yeah. The ship that the prisoners are on gets attacked by another ship, and it's revealed that it is Echo with a group of clones that have joined him, and he's battling against the Empire. They disable the hyperdrive of the enemy ship and then the engines, and then do a 2-pronged boarding. Echo and a group enter while another group stay inside of the docked ship to draw attention. They begin clearing the ship, and they split up. A group goes to retrieve the clones prisoners, and Echo and another clone go to retrieve the data banks on board the ship, which are currently being erased by the Imperial presence. It's a pretty cool fight scene. It's cool to see clones are still more badass than any Empire units because they make quick work of it.
Yeah, they're not easily killed because stormtroopers can't. Stormtroopers, one, can't shoot for shit, and their armor sucks.
Yeah. Echo can't get all of the data because most of it has been deleted, so he doesn't know how much he's able to recover. And the clone that he's with decides that he's going to try and get the information out of the Imperial in charge. However, the Imperial in charge pops a cap in his tooth and electrocutes himself to death.
Yep.
Then an Imperial class Star Destroyer jumps out of hyperspace and begins an onslaught on the prison ship. And Echo and his team make a quick escape and enter hyperspace, returning to places unknown for now. We then cut to the facility on the unknown planet. I still don't know what planet it's on. but it's the facility we've seen a couple of times. And we are looking at Crosshair, who is being held prisoner. He's escorted through, and we see a lot of clones. And I mean a lot of clones. He's escorted to a room where he's strapped down onto a table, and the doctor comes in. The doctor is the creepy, extremely evil guy, and they're basically asking questions about how they can find the Bad Batch to retrieve Omega, because Omega is vital to his work. Crosshair decides he isn't going to give the Bad Batch up, and so is tortured by a probe droid. We then cut to Coruscant for a little bit. We're back on Coruscant. It's happening a lot recently. Seen a lot of it.
We've seen it in 3 different stages now. We've seen it during Empire's time. We've seen it during after the Empire's gone, and then again at the beginning of Order 66.
Yeah. But this time we're on Coruscant to meet the Clone Brigade, a group of clones that have deserted from the Empire and are working with Senator Chuchi, who you might remember from previous episodes of The Bad Batch and Clone Wars. And Echo reveals to them that he retrieved some of the data, but not all of it, and so he needs help from a certain someone to decrypt the data, because it's heavily encrypted. We also learn that multiple clones have been transported from the prison that the clone prisoners that were rescued were being held at, and they never returned. Very sad. That leads to a cut back to Crosshair, who had his torture finished, and he decides he's making his escape. He somehow gets a gun and absolutely annihilates a group of people, and then stuns the female scientist who's sort of looking over him, and he begins running and making his escape, shooting a bunch of clones and stuff. And he makes it to a room where he uses his old purity codes for the Bad Batch to send them a message telling them that they are being targeted and that Plan 88 needs to go into effect.
Does he tell them to do Plan 88? Or
Plan 88 is what happens when they're being targeted.
Oh, right.
That's I believe they'll have got do you know how the Senate have got orders that they can
so the
issue?
Bad Batch have their own.
Bad Batch have created plans that they use in certain situations, which makes sense considering the last episode of this season is called Plan 99, and I assume that will be a plan of targeted assimilation.
Yeah.
Crosshair is then gassed by the scientist with a unique compound that, if you didn't know this guy was evil already, this guy has made himself immune to his own gas.
Yeah. He walks through it and he legit says, I am immune to it, as you are not.
And yeah, so it's a bit weird. And then all of a sudden we're back on Pabu. We've cut back. You know that place that got annihilated by that tsunami last week?
Yeah, and
we're back.
A lot better now.
Looks a lot better now.
And it opens up with fucking Wrecker fishing.
Hunter is helping, I can't remember his name, save my life. I think it's Shep.
The mayor or whoever.
Yeah, moving a bunch of stuff, and he's sort of inquiring if they're going to stay. Wrecker interrupts their conversation and is like, I brought dinner. And he's got a big, shark creature. Then there's a big noise, and Omega flies overhead with Tech. Tech's giving Omega flying lessons. Probably the funniest part of the entire episode, as Tech is terrified.
Tech is just shitting himself.
Omega's bragging. She's like, the collision alarms haven't gone off at all yet. And Tech's like, that's because the last time you flew, they shorted out.
It was definitely a funny part.
It's very interesting. Tech then tells her to pull a certain maneuver, which she's coined as the Tech turn. which is pretty
He
fucking
said
cool.
he said that's not what it's called, but
That's not what
he
it's
said he
called.
liked it.
It does look like things are going well for Omega. She's able to pilot quite effectively. Pretty sure that might be a genetic mutation. She might be able to pick things up quite quickly because she's able to do that.
Possibly.
Then the alarm goes off because a ship's entered, and it's Echo. And we get a nice scene where Omega talks to Echo over the comms, and then they race back to the landing zone. Echo greets Hunter with their little arm grab. It's like, good to see you, old friend. Omega lands the Marauder and runs out and hugs Echo. Meanwhile, Tech looks like he's about to throw up everywhere. But remember, everyone, sick bags do not exist in Star Wars universe. I was toying with it as well in this one, John. I was sort of thinking, where's a good play?
I was waiting for it.
Echo gives Tech the data disk and asks him to decrypt it. Hunter gives him the nod of approval, so they go and decrypt the data. We cut back to the mysterious lab planet, and the scientist is having a conversation with Grand Moff Tarkin, or I believe it might be Moff Tarkin right now. I don't believe he's Grand Moff.
I don't think he's might be.
Tarkin is concerned about the location of the scientist being compromised because of the attack on the ship. The scientist assures him that there's plans in place, and then they have a conversation about repurposing clones. And Tarkin says that he expects to see his report on it at the summit. That is a significant drop for everyone. Who next week you'll probably have already watched the episode because we release these reviews sort of weirdly. And
I mean, we upload them weirdly.
We release them the same day that the new episode comes out.
Yeah, no.
It's a bit strange.
Yeah, but it's a lot better doing it like that than it is the day that it's out.
I mean, I'd have put these on like a Saturday release, so that it's like halfway towards it, so that people watch the thing.
This is how we do it.
But you guys will have probably already watched it. We will have probably already watched it as well by that point and be reviewing it.
Yeah.
But next episode is the summit. Well, one of the next episodes.
Not one of them.
So that is a significant drop from Moff Tarkin. So they have that conversation, and we cut back to Pabu. There's a lot of cutting in this episode. There's a lot of jumping between like areas, and it is revealed to the group that Crosshair has sent them a message using the old channels after Tech discovered his number in the prisoner reports. And the message is the one that he sent earlier in the episode, and they initiate Plan 88, which we still don't know exactly what that entails. But I do believe it'll involve them saving Crosshair. Finally, we cut back to Crosshair, who is back strapped at a table. He's not having a great time. And the scientist tells him, "You're never going to escape unless I let you out." And,
what a dick.
What a dick. And the episode ends with Crosshair being injected with a liquid substance.
But I don't think it's truth serum. I think it's probably just something that's going to put him in a humongous amount of pain.
But that is the end of Tipping Point.
What were your thoughts and your rating, Will?
I enjoyed this one. It was a bit disjointed. It jumped about quite a bit. There was a lot of... it's the first time we've seen all 5 of them in an episode at the same time in a while. So that was nice. It felt like it had an actual story. And everything was sort of connected. I enjoyed Omega and Tech's flying lesson. I thought that was very, very funny. As for Crosshair's bit, I'm unconvinced of the scientist's motivations.
Yeah.
I don't really know what his plans are. I know they can't be good because he works for the Empire, but I'm unsure what the plan is regarding his um, like reforming program for the clones or whatever he's planning on doing. That is a bit concerning though, because we do know that the clones are eventually completely eradicated.
There are ones who are still out there, like Rex, and there's two of the other two who fight during the final battle in the original trilogy. And then obviously there is a few others as well who there in the comics, in one of the comics, in one of the tie-in comics, there is one clone who is left after everything, and I think he becomes a bounty hunter or something. But yeah, I really enjoyed this episode. I thought it was really well done. I think it did jump around a little. It definitely did. I agree with you on that. But yeah, did you finish your thoughts? Well,
No, I did not.
go on then. Go on.
Compared to last week's Pabu, this one was like 10 times better. It was a lot more focused on things that we actually care about in the Bad Batch. It was less focused on like Sid drama, which is sort of what last week's was. It was like Sid drama without Sid being there. And it was more focused on the Bad Batch themselves and
Again.
each member of it.
Fuck Sid.
Fuck Sid. It's sort of difficult because this season has been so odd.
It's been
and
lackluster.
so strange.
It's been
And like it's had highs and it's had like really,
like we
really
say the
deep
best
lows.
episodes are the Crosshair episodes.
Anything with Crosshair in seems to be like some of the best.
Because we actually see a lot more. We see development within the whole Empire.
Like I think the best episode so far would be episode 3, The Solitary Clone, 7 and 8, The Clone Conspiracy and Truth and Consequences, episode 11, Metamorphosis, 12, Outpost, and now 14, Tipping Point.
Yeah.
And what they have in common is there is no Sid. There is
I think Sid was just a character they put in just so that the team had something to do, like job-wise, and somewhere to live. But now that they're gonna like get rid of her, they now are gonna focus on an overarching story for the clone. For like now that the clones are being disbarred, that obviously it's going to be much more story-wise of how the clones are, what the clones are going to be doing, and stuff like that.
I think any episode where it is focused more on the political standpoint of the galaxy, or just the Bad Batch in general, seems to be where this show is the strongest.
Yeah.
And I do hope that they continue down the path of keeping like an overarching theme,
Yeah,
rather than a bunch of different
it's
themes.
like I know a lot of people don't like politics in their media, but at the end of the day, Star Wars is politics. It's always been like that. There's always going to be politics within a lot of sci-fi. Like even fucking Star Trek has politics.
Like it's a galactic stage.
Exactly.
So obviously there's going to be some.
It's why it's what annoys me when people complain about like the Purge films. People complain about it because it's too It's too much about political. But yeah, it makes sense for the fact that the Purge was created by politicians. So it makes no sense. So like when people complain about it, I'm just like, why are you complaining when this is exactly what the thing is? So yeah, you're gonna get those who don't like it. You're gonna get those who do. But end of the day, you can't really change it.
Yeah, I think that this was good. I won't rabble on for much longer now. I will give my rating and let Jordan get his thoughts out there. I think this episode deserves an extremely strong 8.2 out of 10.
8.2.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna give it. I like this episode a lot. I think it was definitely one of the strongest episodes of the season. We got to see Echo again, and anything with Echo is a 10. Having Echo back was really good because we love Echo. We've got to love Echo after everything he's been through. But yeah, I really enjoyed this episode. I think it was cool, but we are now getting into the point where it's getting to the end, so we are. It's going to feel weird because after next week, we've only got Mando to review.
Yeah.
So me and you really have got to think of other videos to do. But yeah, I'm excited to see where the show goes. I'm gonna actually agree with you on that rating. I'm gonna agree with you on that one and go with it. So yeah, I think everything you've said is basically what I could have said it anyway. So I really did enjoy it. I'm excited for next week, which is the 2-parter, but I'm also wary that how is this going to end and where is this going to go and how is this going to fit with season 2 especially. Season 3. But yeah, that's all I've got to say really. So, anything else, Will?
I don't have anything else, Jordan.
Well, guys, I hope you did enjoy today's review of The Bad Batch. Don't forget to do all that shit that people say to do. Remember, science doesn't exist in Star Wars. That one didn't work, did it?
No, science definitely exists in
work.
Star Wars.
That didn't work.
But you know what doesn't exist in Star Wars, Jordan?
What?
Outros.
Fair enough. Right, everybody, we hope you did enjoy. I remember, go to the links down below to all our social medias and everything, and we hope you guys did enjoy. I have been one of your hosts, Slasher.
I have been your other host, Azteral.
And remember, good soldiers follow orders.
Good soldiers do indeed follow orders.
We forget 1,000 things every day, pal. Make sure this is one of them. It's over, Anakin!